Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Before I begin, please subscribe. So this video is about what happens after finishing law school. I just finished law school, and so I just wanted to share my experience and what to look out for, what to expect next. So where I am from, we have 3 years of law school after completing an undergraduate degree. So you complete your undergraduate degree, you write your LSAT, you go, depending on what your marks were in your LSAT and your GPA, that combined determines whether you would be admitted into law schools and which law schools you would be admitted into. Then you do that for 3 years, and then in particular for where I'm from, you have something called articling, which means it's like a 10-month placement where you're working, but under the guidance of a principal. So your principal is the person who's directly overseeing or overlooking what you're doing and is ultimately responsible at the end to say, yes, you completed that 10 months and this is what you did. So where I am at right now is I completed that articling step. So that was one of the final barriers, or one of the final obstacles, I should say. You also do write the bar exam after you finish law school. So the bar exam coupled with the articling for that 10 months, you are then officially finished and you'll be officially licensed and part of the law society of where you're at, where you live. So I've completed my law school, I finished my bar exams, I passed both of them. There's a barrister and solicitor exam. I did my 10 months of articling, and so now I will be called to the bar, which is this idea of like officially welcoming you into the law community. And you've done all your requirements, all of your qualifications, and you are now officially licensed. So those are the next steps in a nutshell, broadly speaking. And once you have your license, it's free reign for you to work anywhere in that jurisdiction. To give a little bit of more detail and a little bit more insight on some of these particular steps, I would say that it's expensive, the whole thing, not only law school, but also the whole bar process, starting from your bar fees to write the barrister and solicitor exam, all of the practice exams and tests that you do to prepare for the bar exam, all of the prep that you do with the binders and binding all of the material to make sure that on test date you can flip through your material more easily. Those are all costs. Depending on where you are articling, there are some fees associated with articling that you pay to this and then after your bar ceremony fees as well. So if there's one thing that I can give advice on, would be to save. I know it's hard as a student to save money, but making sure you have that wiggle room for these fees. And I know that there's ways to defer some of your fees or work out payment plans, but just knowing in the back of your mind that once you finish law school, there'll be some things that you need to pay for is good to keep in mind. And there are some employers that will pay those fees for you. So if that's the case, then you're okay. But just to be prepared in case that's not your situation. Another detail to that process would be finding your articling placement, and it depends on what situation you're in. If you were working during law school during those summers and the place that you're working would have you back as an articling student, then it's a bit of a more smoother process versus those who might not have been working during law school summers, so had to look for an articling position in their third year, or those who did work but their place just can't has no opportunities for articling students. So just planning ahead and so that you can find something that you'll like to article in, so that you'll like your placement, because you'll be there for 10 months more or less, and you'll be making connections and relationships with people at that place that are practice that type of law. So just to be able to put your best foot forward, to make those connections, to really enjoy everything that you're learning. So that would be my tip in that whole articling part. In regards to adjusting to being out of school and doing this articling and doing articling, and so you're first joining the workforce for the first time, and you're learning what is expected in a legal setting. There is a huge learning curve. Everything that you're taught in law school is taught from it's not a hands-on approach, right? You're reading the books, you're talking about it in class, there's discussions, but you're not really getting into the law on a practical level, if that makes sense. So that, I would say, was the biggest jump from being a student to being in the workforce, of course under the guidance and mentorship of someone, but just learning what is expected in the legal setting, learning how to put what you were taught into real life situations and scenarios. I know for me, it was really interesting. I remember we had to take the rules of civil procedure, and in that course we were literally going through each rule, learning what each rule was, but it wasn't until articling that I was like piecing those rules to the things that we were actually doing, and seeing how those rules work out in real life, and always referencing to those rules when making a decision, or when to know when to file a certain document with the court, or what format it has to be, when's the deadline. All of those details can be found in the rules, so just flipping to those rules to see what it is was a really cool exercise, because it's the practical version of everything that you're learning. So yeah, that would be what I would have to say about that. Then after articling, it depends on what your situation is. If you have the opportunity to continue to work there, which we call hire back, if you're hired back to work there. If you decide that you don't want to work there anymore and you want to switch gears somewhere else, it's all case-by-case situation, but the end goal of finishing articling is hoping to have some sort of concrete job after, and if not there, then to be able to transfer those skills and market yourself for other places, other firms. So I would say that the articling experience might be just as difficult as the law school experience. Obviously it's different challenges, but it is very much the same type of stress and pressure to perform, to do well, to make a good impression, because these are now your colleagues, or they're going to be your colleagues. So trying to do all of that while still soaking up everything that you're learning, and trying to do your best each time. So all of that gets mixed into what this whole experience is like, and I don't know if I'm making myself very clear, or if there are questions or anything else that comes out of this video, but I will reflect on this more and possibly make a follow-up video. But I just wanted to give a broad overview of what to expect after law school, because I feel like there are a lot of videos on what law school is like, what to do, what to expect, but not necessarily so much on after that. So I hope that this video was interesting or entertaining at the very least. Let me know what your thoughts are. Please comment. Subscribe, like I said, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks, everyone.